Dire Troll Brawler. Now these guys are relatively new because these guys are a Northkin variety of these guys, so we don't have a whole lot of information from it, but thank you to the Ironkingdoms wiki, we do have a little bit more information drug out for these guys, so we'll be reading off of their stuff. And thank you again, Ironkingdoms wiki, for giving us a whole bunch of lore that sometimes we do not discover in the books, or at least not easily, so let's read it. Dire Troll Brawlers are trained by the Northkin from a violent strain of dire trolls in the northern Imoran. With a desire to crush and devour anything that does not flee before them, they are less intelligent and more temperamental than their southern counterparts. Something they compensate with raw delight in brutal combat. However, lasting bonds can form between northern dire trolls and those who provide them with regular supplies of meat, drink, and opportunities for bloodshed. And like most dire trolls, the opportunity to put their raw strength to the test and eat a bunch of food will draw them out 9 times out of 10. So if you're ever on a trip near dire troll land, best keep your food supplies as far away from your camp as possible, or else you might draw some dire trolls directly into you, which anybody that's ever had to go up against a wild dire troll will know that is not something that you want to happen by accident. So, but let's read over their Mark 3 to Mark 4 changes and see what they got, shall we? And something that makes these guys particularly deadly is the fact that, you know, compared to a lot of their southern cousins who maybe don't use weapons, these guys use flails, which are even more terrifying because, well, a flail gives these guys some reach, and giving, you know, any of these guys reach with a weapon is super dangerous. But let's start off with their stat line and see what we got. So they are a speed 5, they are a mat 7 because that was the update, so they've gone up 1. They are a defense 12, arm 18. This guy only has a fury 4, so he's not as crazy as the Dire Troll Mauler. The abilities that he has is he has trample, he has slam, and he has headbutt. And because he's a Northkin variety, he also has immunity to ice and frost damage, so that is great for him. Other abilities include he is a dire troll, so he has regeneration, so he can be forced to remove D3 damage points once per activation. He also has snacking, so anytime he kills a living model with a melee attack, he can remove that model from play and eat them for a D3 health as well. And his weapons include 2 flails, because, you know, 2's always better than 1, right? So he has a mat 7, a reach of 2, and both these are POW 17, so they are better than a Dire Troll's Fist, who can only be swinging at 15s plus his 2s, or 16 plus his 2s. We just read it. And he has a flail attack, so he gets to ignore shield bonuses, so there you go. On these weapons, he has beat back on both of them, so immediately after a basic attack with this weapon resolved during this model's combat action, the enemy model can be pushed directly 1 inch away from the attacking model, and then this model can follow up a 1 inch, so he can follow him around. So this is great if you're just trying to move guys around or move just people out of the way, especially since you can, you know, swing up to 4 times, and if you're hitting a relatively low defense target, high armor target, you know, they might survive long enough that you can put this Dire Troll Mauler into an even more terrible position for the enemy. And his animus would be Henri. It costs 1. It is a self spell, so it can only be cast on him or his warcaster or warbeast or warlock. We'll get that right at least once. The spellcaster gains retaliatory strike. Henri lasts for 1 round. If a model with retaliatory strike is hit by an enemy model or an enemy melee attack during your opponent's turn, after the attack is resolved, the model with the retaliatory strike can immediately make 1 basic melee attack against the attacking model. A model with retaliatory strike can only make 1 retaliatory strike per turn. So this is great because he's swinging at a range of 2 at a 17, so if he's hitting a guy with relatively low armor, he's just going to go right through him. Now, of course, beatback doesn't pop off with this because it has to be during your activation or his activation for that to kick off. But being able to swing back, and him being a dire troll as himself, he can take at least 1 hit relatively. So he can, you know, if he's hitting a warbeast, he might be able to clear off an entire branch, making, you know, that warbeast pretty insignificant in comparison. So he's still super dangerous and very good if you want to get him into your army, because having a reach weapon is always good for any war beast.